Whoop.
Why
You're good.
is Invincible? Hotels report to the police. My name will trigger a diplomatic alert. And I'm not here. Please, to have an alternate identity. Second, we have a document creation division, just like the Germans. I spoke to Major Otis this
Yes.
morning and got the whole story. Naturally, we were watching your friends. You disobeyed me. I told you only me, Mr. Ratcliffe, or the President. It was private business. No business is private. Not in this matter. But please, don't blame your friend for ratting you out. He had no choice. I don't feel too bad either because both Mr. White and Special Agent Waterman have already done the same kind of thing with their friends. Not unexpected. We will brief about your background. It wasn't relevant. It was because of the ID. That changes everything. ID for sale good enough to get through multiple foreign borders is very rare. We didn't include it as a factor. Now we must, which reduces our chances to less than zero. Our American will be one of 10 million among people going to one of 10,000 different places. Our chances are better than zero, Reacher said. He'll want a place where he feels at home and the messenger doesn't, which means a big western city with direct connections by air. He won't want to travel more than he has to, and he's already familiar with hunger. He might come back. Our chances are 1 in 10, maybe. We're pushing towards the safe house. I think we need to. They might have more than one. Reacher nodded. They might have 10 in every town on Earth. It's a percentage game. We have to start somewhere. Sinclair nodded in turn. We're taking it under consideration. In either case, we'll be alerted as soon as the messenger arrives, if he ever does. Then we'll take it from there. Last time, the wait before the
Get that bowl?
48 hours.
Yeah.
We'll have time for a decision. How does the Iranian communicate? On the phone, if he can, if it's safe, or by dead drop. And the Hamburg head of station just arranged a very basic early warning. Under the circumstances, he thought it was necessary. If the Iranian can't get to the phone or arrange a drop, he'll move a lamp on his bedroom windowsill, from the edge to the center, as soon as the messenger shows up. His bedroom is in the back of the building, and the window is visible from the next street over. The head of station is doing 4 drive-bys a day. A waitress with yellow pigtails came by for the newcomer's orders. Sinclair dug in her bag and came out with a large brown envelope. She gave it to Nagley and said, "This is your mail from the Department of the Army." Nagley said, "Thank you, ma'am," and opened the envelope. She checked the contents, put them back, and smiled an only the Army kind of a smile. Reacher said, "What?" "Nothing,"
No?
Sinclair said. "You can speak freely, and I have a security clearance." "No, ma'am, it's really nothing. Not relevant at all. Except I guess it proves once again the most efficient unit in uniform is the press room. I asked for information about a 4-month-old AWOL case we found. A purely tangential injury. Nothing to do with anything. But Major Reacher asked me to keep him up to date with it." "Why?" Reacher said, "That's a command I want to avoid." And the press room responded. Nagley said, "They sent 2 generic newspaper articles about the guy's unit. The best they could do. Trying to be helpful. In fact, one of them isn't even an article at all. It's an advertisement. Because, obviously, they don't know anything about the guy himself. Because they're only the press room. But they're very willing and very fast. And nothing from the units that do know something about the guy? Not yet. Is 4 months unusual? It would be in a unit I would thought. Reacher said. They're putting people in advertisements now.
Nately took out the envelope's contents for the second time. An old Army Times and the trade show handbill. The Times had a bland piece about the ongoing drawdown out of the Fulda Gap near Frankfurt, where once upon a time great swirling tank battles had been envisaged. Now the enemy was gone, and the border had moved hundreds of miles farther east, like an ebb tide, and frontline units had been stranded like fish on a beach. Some had pushed onward, just in case, and others had streamed back to immense storage loggers where they were mothballed. Just 5 chaparral units were still on active duty, including the A-Wolf's crew, who were featured in a photograph at the top of the story. The photograph was a posed picture with the camera set low behind the men and their vehicle, all of which were facing away toward an imagined incoming threat. The missiles on the truck were in their launchers, aimed at a low horizon ahead, and the guys were staring at the same spot in the sky, some with binoculars, some with hands shading their eyes as if the sun was coming up. As if the viewer of the photograph was cowering 20 yards behind their manly and vigilant protection. From the rear, the men looked like a useful bunch, lean and purposeful and energetic. Reacher knew people from similar units. In his experience, they acted halfway between regular artillerymen and the flight crews on a Navy carrier, all hustle and bustle, with a little maverick Top Gun aviator mixed in. They thought of their trucks as parked airplanes. Morale and unit cohesion tended to be high. These particular guys all had mohawk hairstyles, with 2-inch wide tufts running front to back across otherwise shaved skulls, all spiked up with soap or wax. Not strictly legal according to Army Regulation 670-3-2, which said that haircuts should be neat and conservative, and that extreme, eccentric, or faddish styles were not authorized. But clearly, the wise commander had turned to find out. Some battles were not worth fighting, especially when more important battles were on the horizon, literally. The trade show handbill had been printed up to look like a newspaper article by a uniform manufacturer out of a new urban camouflage pattern, aimed at the Department of Defense, possibly, or at police SWAT teams. The main picture looked like it had been shot in a giant indoor studio, and it featured the same chaparral crew as the Army Times piece and the vehicle, all of them decked the same way, men and machine alike, in a design that looked like digital noise, made up of tiny tinted rectangles, all different shades of gray. The men's faces and hands and arched bald heads were painted the same way, as was the truck, and as were the missiles themselves. They were all posed in front of an artificial painted backdrop, like the theater set that showed a ruined cityscape. This time, the camera was set high and in front of him, like an incoming pilot's eye view, like an attack helicopter coming in low and close for a preemptive strike, in which case the new colonel did an excellent job. The men and their machine were barely visible. They merged into the background more or less perfectly. They were a ghostly presence, both there and not there, all at the same time. No details were clear. Even the missiles